To be honest, Philly is gone.
We all know young Philly's been accused of very serious things in Australia. Is young Philly going to jail? A lot of people are wondering what is happening with him. He's been stuck in Australia for a long time, and he's going to be stuck there even longer now. It's gotten to the point where his mother has come over there to support him, but he said even she's got ill in that country.
Young Philly, disqualified license for 6 months. Did you want to say anything? How's your mum doing? Is she okay? She fly over to Perth to be here?
This is the harsh reality of the world. When shit hits the fan, the main person that's going to be there is your mother or a supportive person, maybe one or two. The people you do podcasts with and make money with when it's beneficial, like Chunks, are not going to be in your corner. His mother has appeared in documentaries before and is very passionate when talking about her son and his success he found. I cannot imagine what she's going through right now. At the age of just 2, young Philly moved to London as a refugee with his mother and sister.
It was really hard being a single mom with 3 little children. Sometimes there is nothing to put on the table. And there was a point that he couldn't understand the reason why I wasn't with his dad. So I had to send him back home. When he came back, he was like more mature, more like he appreciated me more. Do you understand? So he started growing, and now he realized that I did my best as a single mom.
Young Philly over the last couple of years has blown up as an influencer in the UK, amassed over 3 million followers on Instagram, is successful in music as well, and made a lot of famous friends along the way, which pretty much none of them have sent overwhelming support. Maybe they're not allowed to.
You two are my best friends. I swear to you, but then so is Chunk, so is Harry, so is a guy called Bruce. Like, I've got bare best friends.
Brother, do you define best? You can't have 4 bests.
I don't believe in associates. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get you. Cool.
Everyone I actually chat to is my friend.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
100, but who's your best friend?
I ain't got none.
You must.
I ain't got one.
This right here is your business partner, not your friend, your business partner that will make decisions based on what's good for business and for himself, obviously.
Yes, my peoples, like everyone, I've heard the reports coming out of Australia. Whilst I understand many of you want my reaction on it, as this is an ongoing court case, I hope you guys can understand that I can't and won't be commenting on it publicly. So yeah, I've just come on here to basically let you know the reasons as to why I can't. Love.
Both of these guys have money. They've done very well for themselves outside of that podcast. But me personally, I feel like if it was the other way around, that young Philly would come out with a different approach.
Who wouldn't you trust to leave your girlfriend alone with?
Philly wouldn't trust himself to leave his own girl with himself.
Man, them trust me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But we have to pick someone in this case.
I feel like at times this is more of a one-sided friendship. Chunks has other people that he's friends, and young Philly does consider Chunks a close friend outside of this work environment. He bought him a Rolex not long ago.
God, man. Philly's got me a Rolex, guys. Unless he's trolling me. Hopefully oh, no.
Brand new. You see when it comes with this?
And Chunks has got a lot of backlash for that. Young Philly, the way he behaves and talks about Chunks and obsessed with him, I feel like he would come out and say he doesn't think it is true. Like, Young Philly was out there performing all these shows and actually bigging up Chunks and the Beta Squad, his friends, in this just before he got arrested.
This song featuring my brother Chunks. Let's go. Let's go, Sydney.
I don't know Young Philly very well personally. All of his friends, Chunks, all of his boys, Beta Squad, why aren't they saying anything? But I mean, all I know is if my guy here was under arrest and charges, this, that, the other, I'd be backing him, right? Or if he's guilty, then maybe, I don't know. But generally, I'd be having a voice. The reason they ain't backing him, the reason Chunks ain't saying nothing is because all of his money comes from where? YouTube, sponsorships, and these guys, they might have a bit of money. You know what? Get into property, man. Get into property, make some real money from not relying on sponsorships, not relying on brands. I would rather be broke than have money and then be able to say nothing about my own friend and back my own boy. So get into property, man, and then actually have a voice and be able to say what you want. I say what I want. I can say whatever I want because I'm not relying on money from Bram.
I don't know, maybe Chunks was just in shock when hearing the serious charges that young Philly is facing in Australia. Starting with 4 counts of sexual penetration without consent, 3 counts of assault, occasionally bodily harm, 1 count of impeding a person's normal breathing or circulation by applying pressure to their neck. Additionally, he's been charged with reckless driving. That was the situation recently.
He lives life in the fast lane.
Yeah, man, let's go!
But it's his fast pace that's allegedly landed young Philly in more trouble. Police say they clocked the social media star hooning 3.5 weeks ago, going 158 kilometres an hour on the Roe Highway near High Wycombe, more than 50 k's over the speed limit. His car impounded the 29-year-old, now charged with 1 count of reckless driving. Young Philly, whose real name is Andre Barrientos, is currently on bail, barred from leaving the state, facing 8 charges, accused of raping and choking a woman after his September show at Bar 1 in Hillary.
Young Philly has copped a $1,000 fine over there and a 6-month driving ban in that country after driving dangerously while on bail for these R charges in Perth, telling police that he was speeding, like I said, because he needed to get home to his sick mother. That's one charge he's been punished for, and at the end of this month in January is when he will go back to court to face the allegations by this woman, numerous allegations. September 27th, 2024 is when young Philly's life was about to take a dark turn. He was out in Australia doing a bunch of shows and he had performed at Bar 1 nightclub. This was picked up, him performing his song Great. The crowd was engaged in it and he was drunk as well backstage.
I say, you know I'm drunk. Look, this is how you know I'm drunk. I put face for, I think, young Philly. So I realised I was drunk when that was, so I don't know.
During this night, he decides to take a woman back to his hotel, and this is where the alleged incident occurred. The victim's response: the woman the next day had immediately called her friend after the alleged assault at 5:31 a.m. September 28, 2024. However, according to court documents, no complaint of sexual nature was made during this first call. And it wasn't until October 8th, a couple of weeks later, that young Billy was arrested and extracted to Perth, where the alleged incident occurred. He appeared in Perth Magistrates Court on October the 9th, the next day, where he was charged. He was granted bail on strict conditions that he is not to leave Western Australia, must report to the police daily and surrender his passport. He's banned from posting about the case on social media or contacting the alleged victim, and he was required to pay $100,000 personal bond.
No, young Philly wouldn't do that. Young Philly didn't do that. Sorry, since when do you fucking know him? Tell you who knows whether he done it or not. Himself and the fucking person, whoever it is, that is accusing him of doing it. That's the only 2 people that know, unless somebody else was in that room, in the wherever it was. That's who fucking knows.
Now, he was stuck in Australia, and that country especially did not have a good opinion of him. This is an Australian podcast reacting to the news of him being arrested, saying pretty much they're not surprised and they've heard things about him there.
Young Philly, what the fuck? This is putrid.
I have some tea on that, by the way.
Do you?
Yeah. I had a friend who was at Promised Land, well-known influencer. They saw Young Philly at the festival and they messaged me saying it's no surprise that Young Philly is getting charged from what I saw at the music festival. Total creep. They said to me they saw some stuff from behind the scenes that this is no shock to them. These people get idolized. These people get put up on a pedestal.
They think they're invincible.
They have unlimited money, fame, and that doesn't ever exclude someone from being charged or being a horrible person.
We make the wrong people famous.
As for his home country, the UK, where he gets the most support, again, a lot of people saying they're not surprised by things he said on a podcast or girls and rumours and stories of the way he treated people in the past.
But let's not act majorly surprised about it when we've seen their podcasts. The way that bloke has spoke about women, been outed for treating women, and just the pure lack of respect that he showed for young women over time, it's... I feel like with all these people, you know, when this stuff comes out, we all open our eyes and we're like, yeah, when you think about it, possibly saw that come in, which is actually really sad. This one really grates on me, to be honest, because there are so many young boys and young men and just people in general that look up to not only him, but his little group of friends. And they are very well known. They are very they are very looked up to by a younger generation, and this is absolutely petrifying.
Lily Phillips, that has an absolutely abysmal reputation, was one of the people grilling at young Philly, saying that she's heard stories of what he is like over there, and saying that people automatically not believe in the victim.
Everyone on the whole of the internet is saying, you're lying. I know Philly, he hasn't done this, you're lying. Like that genuinely would be world's worst feeling ever. That, like, you've gone through that trauma and no one believes you. I just can't help but like think how she feels. And it's not like, I think so many people are saying she's getting money out of this, she's getting clout. It's not even her that's put this forward, it's the state. And you don't get money from this kind of trial. The only money she gets is Philly has to pay her lawyer's fees. That's it. She doesn't, it's just the justice system. She doesn't get paid any money. And I think people think she's getting clout from this.
That is one of the wildest things. Since young Philly has been arrested, we've not heard one single word from him. There's been a few different times he showed up to the police station. Remember, he has to report there to confirm his bail situation, and never has he answered even one word to the reporters at all, except for saying F in hell when he hopped out of a truck. That was it. Australia is similar to the UK. Anything you say will be used against you, and also he can make himself look more crazy by going at the media. It can be tempting to defend yourself, and they've even banned him from speaking about it on social media as well. I'm not sure what he can say in public right now. You may be wondering, why is an influencer of this level with so much money on such strict bail conditions? Prosecutors were presented with images of the woman's injuries during the hearing, emphasising the serious nature of this assault, and argued that the consent in the circumstances depicted in the photos was implausible. Meanwhile, young Philly's going through this crazy situation and become a meme and a comedian joke in the UK.
Elsewhere, young Philly was charged in Australia over sexual assault allegations. If guilty, it will be the first time he completes a sentence that wasn't repeating what Chunk said. Yeah. Talking about a repeat offender, am I right?
Man like Chunks, you know? My brother, man just, you get me? Fresh home and that, you get me? Hey, Chunks, what you doing, bruv? Hey, Chunks, bro. Man said you're airing me. Man said you're airing me, you know? Bruv, you know how these girls be, bruv. You get me? Bruv, the Australian things, bruv. You get me? I don't know you. Man said he doesn't know me, you know? bruv, are we still cool though, bruv? Bro, mashallah, bro, mashallah. Man said mashallah! Man said mashallah!
Along with the memes, the other side of it is a combination of clips that have been put together, him taken out of context, saying things on podcasts, and also him acting weird in certain live streams.
Yeah, I can come home to you in private one day.
For me, you're this life.
Ooh. I know you get it.
And Chucky Online made the absolute best point on this situation, because the only thing you can go for is references before it goes through the court of law, the court of public opinion, and what people think of you and say of you online. If your friend's not defending you, then other people will speak on it, on this whole situation. And he spoke about young Philly not having the best character references.
The one thing that I noticed when I was watching the, online and the conversations and whatnot, I'm going to be really honest, I think that nobody was necessarily there. They didn't see what happened. They know that there's this innocent until proven guilty thing or whatever. I'm not sure what that looks like, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I think the unfortunate thing for him is that he doesn't have much good character references. There's, in this time of going through what he's going through, aside from naturally the people that you would probably expect, I don't necessarily need to say their names or whatnot. Maybe these guys will have some super good character references on him because they know him a certain way. But in general, his character references have always just been really, 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 really bad. And so now, in this, sometimes when you hear about these type of things happening, it can be quite split. Sometimes some people say, well, you know what, we ain't heard the other side. We ain't heard the other side. And then there will be another side that will turn around and say, especially maybe women, for example, who have been before in the past or whatnot, will turn around and they will just believe the woman because they not understand what they've been through. In this case, because of his character reference, because of the dealings that people have had with him personally, it is tainting his personality even more so in this situation. Do you get what I'm saying?
An example of this, although she got a lot of backlash, is a woman coming out after this situation of him getting arrested, saying that she spent some time with him a while back and has just only come out now, just saying basically he was weird and she was young. There is Snapchat video footage that shows they met. She didn't say if they did anything, but she says she doesn't want him to get away with how he acts.
4 years ago, I spoke to young Philly on Instagram DM. He DM'd me and I ended up going to his flat. That's what most people know happened, but there was a lot more that went on that people didn't know about. I initially did want to say something. I did want to tell the truth about what happened. However, him and his management, they worked very hard to manipulate me, obviously me when I was 17, and to make me feel like if I said anything then they could ruin my life would be over, you know, it'd be awful for me, awful for my mental health. So they convinced me to stay quiet. Now looking back, I can see how that all worked in their favour, but at the time I really believed what they were saying. I really believed that speaking up was the worst thing to do. Right now I just feel awful because I feel like in light of what's happened to this poor woman in Australia, maybe it could have been prevented if I'd said something before, if I had just had the courage to say something. But again, I was 17, and when it first happened, the incident, I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. I was very alone and I was very embarrassed and I literally didn't know what to do. So when you have grown men in your ear telling you not to say anything and stuff like that, you listen to them. So I didn't want to talk about it then, and to be honest, I don't want to talk about it now. I don't want to go into details. It's embarrassing and it's horrible to relive it. However, I also don't want him to get away with this.
All these bops coming out the woodwork claiming Philly touched him. Yeah, Philly raped me when I was 5. Why are all the hers lying? What young Philly has been accused of is a heinous accusation, meaning it will stick regardless. It's going to be women that say they do not believe young Philly whatsoever, even if he is found not guilty. So that is the problem with a charge like this. It's going to be hard to prove his innocence to the general public more than it is in a courtroom. When he's got a lot of money, people are going to say he's got it paid off, all these different things, but we'll see. Can young Philly's career resume to the same way it did before? I'm not too sure. This guy have massive brand deals that want you to have a perfect reputation. We're going to find out more information on January the 30th, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel not to miss this trial showdown. We have details coming from inside the court from good sources over there, so stay tuned to this channel for more updates and a part 2 on this situation. Talking to someone that could be serving a lot of time wasted talent is the rapper Dig That. I covered that on my last video, a must-watch documentary about his wild story, going to jail for 10 years at just 13 years old.